Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Astrology News Report, an alternate view of world events as seen through the lens of Vedic astrology, presented by yours truly, Ron Berger. Today is August 26th, 2018. In this segment, we'll take a look at the week that was and see how the planets' patterns in the Zodiac matched up with the past week's events. In Vedic astrology, Venus, the planet of romance and beauty, is also the planet of guidance, therefore giving advice. How did Venus become the planet of advice? Okay, so back in the old days, trekking across the desert, a lot of travel was done after sundown or before sunrise, 'cause it's really hot during the day. Depending on what time of the year it is, Venus is reliably on the western or eastern horizon after sunset or before dawn. Being brighter than anything else except the moon, Venus becomes the planet of guidance, and, by extension, advice and counsel, and therefore advisors and lawyers. Okay, so last week there was a whole lot of lawyer action connected to the Trump administration, and not in a favorable way. The week before that, it was the week of the advisors, actually former advisors, who were spilling the beans on TV and in the courtroom. Up in the Zodiac, Venus has been riding along in Virgo, the sign of details and analysis. So, a lot of what was going on has been about the details, as provided by the advisors, and the details of just what were those lawyers doing anyway. On Tuesday, within minutes of each other, ex-Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort was found guilty of 8 counts of tax and bank fraud, while ex-Trump fixer Michael Cohen was voluntarily pleading guilty to 8 charges of tax and bank fraud, and of helping to influence a federal election by paying hush money to a certain candidate's former extramarital sexual partners. That candidate subsequently became the President of the United States. An interesting astrological angle here is that there are 2 planets related to these events: Jupiter, planet of truth, justice, and law, and Venus, planet of lawyers and finances and young females. These 2 planets are presently linked in the Zodiac in an interesting way. As shown earlier, Venus, the planet of advice and guidance, has been transiting in Virgo, the sign of details and analysis. Venus is also the planet of harmony, therefore cooperation. Virgo sees all the specifics. Jupiter, meanwhile, has been transiting in Libra, the sign of balance and fairness, which happens to be one of Venus's signs. In astro-speak, Venus is the dispositor of Jupiter, thereby linking Jupiter to Venus. So, the planet of truth and law is trying to find its footing in the sign of balance and fairness. Meanwhile, the planet of guidance and cooperation is working through the sign of details. What does all this add up to? Cooperation, plea deals, immunity deals, and pardons. Cue the special counsel, cue Michael Cohen, cue Alan Weisselberg and David Pecker. Also, note that on last Tuesday, Jupiter, the planet of truth and justice, was in an exact trine aspect to Neptune, planet of dreams and imagination, inspiration, and transcendence. Jupiter's trine aspect is the energy of encouragement. So, the truth planet is encouraging the planet of transcendence, bringing things to a new level of comprehension, a recognition of the truth. Trump's lawyer fixer Michael Cohen has had his come to Jesus moment. He stood up in the courtroom and proclaimed his guilt, and then seeking some further good karma, or maybe just to get even, added in that the illegal payments had been done at the behest of Mr. You-Know-Who. The events of the past couple of weeks are being characterized as a tipping point for the Trump administration, with the I word now being openly discussed by the reporters and pundits and members of Congress. Even Mr. Trump himself has mentioned it. How about Mr. Trump's own astrology chart? Well, as I reported last week, Mars, the planet of conflict, is now stationary at 4 degrees Capricorn, which in his chart is the house of struggle and enemies. Directly across from transiting Mars happens to be Mr. Trump's natal Venus, the planet that in his chart represents his karma with advisors and lawyers. Note, too, that his natal Venus resides in the chart's 12th house of loss and betrayal. So, recent events certainly seem to reflect the current state of affairs in Mr. Trump's astrology chart. And since Mars isn't moving much for the next few weeks, we can expect things are not going to calm down for Mr. Trump, not anytime soon. Okay, that's all the time I have for this week's Review of the Week. A big thank you to those who are helping to keep the Astrology News Report going and ad-free. You too can become a supporter. Just click on or touch the donation card you see here, which will take you to the donation page. Thanks, and until next week.